Ho, 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 and welcome to Cereal at Midnight. My name is Santa Heath, and in this episode, we're talking about the 4K upgrade of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. This is brand new for the holiday season 2022 from Warner Brothers Home Entertainment. The Griswolds are now on 4K. So in this review, we're going to talk about a little bit about the movie itself, but that's hard to do because this movie is so famous, some movies are so big, it's kind of hard to talk about them. But we're going to talk about the technical aspects of this, how it looks, how it sounds, all that jazz, and then what special features are here. Can you kick your old edition? Because I know that's a lot of you guys know this movie and you love this movie and you just want to know if it's safe to upgrade to the new 4K. Kudos to Warner Brothers Home Entertainment for bringing Christmas Vacation to 4K. The vacation movies, just in general, sometimes feel kind of like a secret. They were huge, back in the VHS days. But I feel like over time we're getting further and further away from them. So I hope this is a big seller for Warner Brothers because I want me some vacation movies on 4K. Can I get a European Vacation, please? Can we get some love? Can I get some love for European Vacation? That's what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Christmas Vacation is a classic, right? Cousin Eddie, all this, like, what do we got to quote? Scenes, like, it's just an endlessly classic movie that over many Christmases has become this part of the tradition of millions of people all over the world. And it has never looked great on home media. That's the thing. Part of it's because it's an 80s movie. Is like we find this a lot, right? 80s movies just have a very distinct look. I don't know if it's the film stock, if it's the film labs. Probably what it comes down to is that these movies were made under conditions that are very different from our own. They were going to maybe the home box office channel, or they were going to VHS, or hey, Betamax, right? Beta, they're going to Beta. And they looked as good as they needed to look. But as we continue to upgrade our formats, DVD to Blu-ray to 4K now, you're seeing, things that we've never seen before. And so I got to tell you guys, this is my 2006 Christmas Vacation Blu-ray. And it is, I remember what a huge step forward this was at the time. And then you go back to it now and it's like, who? Even in this new edition, so we've got, let me get this more in frame here. This new edition, so we've got the new 4K and then they've included the Blu-ray is the 2015. It was the 25th anniversary Blu-ray, which I don't have that edition. Well, I do now, but and even looking at that, it's like so. It almost looks like it came like it was buried in the dirt or something. It's just so like dirty, and the grain is like chunky and gray. So sounds pretty good for the new 4K, right? Yeah, I actually think this is a huge step forward for Christmas Vacation. It ain't never looked so good. And there's all the things that I like about a 35mm sourced 4K. So there's a nice fine film grain. Sometimes when we talk about Warner Brothers titles or Universal titles or even Paramount titles, we talk about these big studios. Those big studios, like the big three, they oftentimes will go a little heavy on the DNR to get rid of most of the grain entirely. Not the case with this transfer. So there's been speculation. Some people are saying, well, this is sourced. Warner Brothers does not release source information, like where a transfer is coming from. They're not transparent about that. So it seems possible that this 4K comes from the 2015 scan, the 2015 master that's on the Blu-ray here, but has been further cleaned up. Maybe it was upscaled. I've seen people speculate that it was upscaled. I don't know. I just know it looks, the 4K looks way better than the Blu-ray, than this 2015 Blu-ray, like way better. And we talk sometimes about the color changes from HDR, and sometimes it's revisionist. Sometimes it's kind of in keeping with how it's supposed to look. Going on this Blu-ray, the beginning of the movie is animated, right? It's like Santa doing Christmassy things, like visiting the Griswolds. And in the animation on the Blu-ray, the 2015 Blu-ray here, he's almost blown out. Like there are scenes where it's kind of hard to make out parts of his face because he's so bright. That's not how it's supposed to look, right? No one would have been like, I want him really blown out, so you can't make out details. So the 4K is the same thing, but the film grain is so much nicer and cleaner, and it has the color has a real cinematic quality. It's a little bit darker, but you can make out all these details. There's a little bit of a red-orange push. Red-orange push. But nothing like what I detect with Elf, where James Caan sometimes looks like a hot dog. Nothing that extreme. The skin tones here seem relatively natural, if a little on the warm side, but they always were kind of warm. If you go back and you look at the 2015 Blu-ray, if you look at the 2006 Blu-ray, that's just got a warm tone to it. So that's the director's intention. So I think this is actually a really good upgrade. Is it as good as this movie could look? Did this movie get a new 4K scan? I kind of doubt it. I honestly kind of doubt it. Like, it does look a little soft in spots. It does seem that it's possibly an older, lower resolution scan. But I want to be very clear. This is speculation because, again, we just don't know. I can only go by what I see. And when I see new 4K scans, they do tend to be a little bit sharper than what I see here. But the source material may have been limited, and it's an 80s movie. And 80s movies were just shot kind of soft. So for anybody that's on the fence, it's a nice step up. It's now that it is the definitive presentation. I like to say that to be very clear, and I think I'm the only one that says that. This is the new definitive presentation of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. There's really nothing to write home about in the audio department. You know, we got 5.1 stereo. Nothing. You know, sometimes people are like, well, you don't talk enough about the sound. As I throw the release to the floor. I just want to know that the intentions have been respected. What's weird for me is when I watch a movie from like 1955 and they're like Dolby Atmos, and I'm like, that's not how that's supposed to sound. We get into revision, right? And this sometimes in the service of servicing new technology, we get into revision for older things. This looks and sounds like it's supposed to look, I believe. It's very, very true to its source. Special features wise, there's not a lot there. So there was always a commentary. There's been a commentary for this movie forever. Did they say who all? Yeah. Randy Quaid, Beverly D'Angelo, Johnny Galecki, Miriam Flynn, director Jeremiah S. Chechik, and producer Maddie Simmons. That's been around for years and years. It's here too. It's on the 4K, but then the Blu-ray has that commentary and the theatrical trailer. The theatrical trailer is not on the 4K, and that's the only difference, special features wise. So I'm like, hey, Warner Brothers, why didn't you just put the trailer on the 4K? I don't know. Could it have taken? It's like 2.5 minutes long. The other thing we got, like this art. We got to talk about this art. What do you guys think about this art? I personally don't love it. I think that when I think of Christmas Vacation, I think of this. I've always thought of this, even going back to the poster. So I don't know. I know. We talked about this, like, we're talking about this all the time, especially since Warner Brothers has just released 4 classic holiday movies with revisionist artwork that you're like, some people really like it. And that's great. I'm not sure how I feel about it. It does seem a little tongue-in-cheek, which I respect. It does have kind of a winking, satirical angle to it. All in all, I'm happy with Christmas Vacation on 4K. Probably could have looked a little bit better, but it's hard to complain because it's already such a huge step forward from every other previous presentation. So if you're on the fence about it, gets my thumbs up. What do you think about Christmas Vacation? We can talk about this movie in the comments below. When did you first see it? Here's what I'm interested in. Are there any younger people, or like Gen Zers watching this channel? I don't know if Gen Zs are watching my channel anyway, but if you are, have you seen this movie? Did you grow up with this movie? Did your parents watch this movie and then hand it down to you? I'm curious what the inroad for Christmas Vacation is now. You know, like right now for what's happening right now. Like, how do people come to this movie? Because does it come on? Does anyone watch television? Is it on streaming? I don't know. Christmas Vacation it belongs in every. I think it belongs in every collection. What do you think? Let's talk about it in the comments below. Take care, guys. Have a happy holidays. Until next time, I will catch you later.